This is a warning. You want to really consider whether you want to drive for Lyft. Now, this year I made $48,065.45. It's 2024. All right. They don't pay for our gas. They don't pay for maintenance on our vehicle. Now, this year alone, I had to get my brakes done twice. I also, gas, I spent well over $12,000 in gas. So it costs you money to do this, and everything that you're making, you're not taking it home. They send you so many trash offers. If you take a look at this, I have rejected 6,951 rides this year. And that's while trying to maintain a good acceptance rate the first 5 months of the year before I said, screw this, I'm only taking profitable rides. And I wish I could show you how much I actually received in tips, which is probably around just a couple $100 for the entire year out of 4,713 trips that I actually completed. So if it wasn't for Lyft giving bonuses, like bonus hours, turbo, which I haven't seen them give any turbo in a long time. But if it wasn't for bonuses, the amount that I made this year would be significantly low. And I would say probably around 28,000 is what I would have made, if not less than that, based off of the bonuses and everything like that. So again, a lot of passengers are getting over because they're getting free pickup. And instead of actually tipping the driver because the pickup is free, they opt out of it. Why do you think that a lot of people are protesting nowadays? You got waitresses out here. They want a good hourly pay because tips are low in their industry. They need to get tips just to balance out what they should be making for the service that they're providing. When I go to restaurants, I don't even go and sit down at a table unless I'm willing to put a tip on my bill. And normally I leave anywhere between $10, $15, or $20 on a tip, because it depends on how long I'm actually sitting there. Because she could be having somebody sitting at her table who's actually going to tip her. And not only that, but a percentage of their tips go to the cooks or go to the dishwashers and everything. So they don't even get to keep 100% of their tips and everything. But nevertheless, I think that they're willing to give those tips because they have the bus boys that will hustle and get the tables clean and everything. So again, in their situation, they deserve to be tipped. If you don't agree with it, that's fair. That's fine. But I'm pretty sure if they had the option to whether you can sit at their table or not, they would want their money up front, because they want to know if they're going to be paid for their service. Now, I know somebody is sitting here like, man, all of this tipping stuff or whatever, it's not our problem. It's not our fault that these jobs don't pay y'all enough money. Do you realize what you're saying? Do you realize how ignorant you are? How ignorant you are by even thinking that way? Because if restaurants no longer allow tipping, then they would have to hire their menu prices to pay the waitresses a living wage. Same thing with Lyft and Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub and so forth. If tips didn't exist, your prices for your food would be a hell of a lot higher. Your prices for your rides would be a hell of a lot higher. Now, this video is not about how people need to tip. It's about these companies needing to raise your prices for the service you are getting, because you have made the decision, the clear-cut decision, on why you don't want to tip and everything. So that means that the prices for everything should skyrocket. People only stay in these companies due to the fact that they are making a good livable wage, or they assume that they can still have a good wage. Maybe they should hold on a little bit longer, try a little bit harder. They're adjusting their attitude. They're adjusting the way that they're providing service to people and everything, trying to figure out what they can do differently that is going to get them a good amount of money that particular day, making and earning a livable wage. A lot of people need to stop with that mentality that, oh, I shouldn't tip. Well, you know what? If everybody in service says, you know what, we agree, and then they quit, now you're competing with that waitress that could have been serving tables. You're competing with them for a office job. to be a secretary. Now they're in school taking up your seats, and now there is less financial aid that's available because now they're thinking, you know what, to make more money, I need to go back to school. Now it's making it more hard than you. Do not look at the people where you may be thinking like, okay, well, these people are lower class. Do not think for 1 minute that if these people change their mind, their perception changes. Don't think for 1 minute that the things that you are in life, do not think for 1 minute that the privileges that you have in life would exist if everybody went to school. If everybody was educated, you wouldn't have people that would work at a gas station, at Taco Bell, Starbucks. You wouldn't have these people because they would be competing with you for your corporate position, for that engineer position, and so forth. So do not disrespect people just because they're doing a service job. And if you want to make more money, then you need to go back to school. If you want to make more money, then you need to find a new job. Because when you're telling people that, and if everybody assume that that's what they need to do, what kind of society will we have today in today's world? You've already went to McDonald's where the service is slow, and then the manager comes to you and say, sorry, but we're short-handed. But you got an attitude because that's not your problem that they're short-handed. It's not your problem that they don't have people coming in and servicing you when you're placing your order. The fact that you're stuck in a drive-thru for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and now you're sitting here pissed off at everybody and everything, it's because people quit. Because they're not making enough money to deal with your attitude. They're not making enough money to provide a service for you. And so they're going out and looking for other jobs and everything. Stop mistreating people in the service industry. Stop assuming that you don't need to actually tip, because eventually they're going to raise the prices on everything again. Everything again to compensate people for the services and jobs that they are doing. Currently, right now, food delivery, they're trying to invest in drone delivery. That is going to screw you, because now you're not just dealing with DoorDash in a restaurant, but you're dealing with DoorDash, the restaurant, and whoever owns the technology for the drones. DoorDash is not going to hire people to fly the drones. They're hiring a company to make the deliveries for them. Rideshare, autonomous vehicles. Lyft and Uber doesn't own the technology. They don't build the cars. They're hiring another company that owns the technology for the driverless vehicles. So again, right now, if you get into one of them, you might save some money. Because you might think that it's a lot safer to drive those than to deal with a human being. But currently, right now, those things are causing more accidents on a yearly basis than the human drivers are getting into accidents. Not only that, but again, like I said, you may think that you can't wait for those autonomous cars to hit your market, but the price for those rides are going to skyrocket. It's a startup. The idea is a startup. All startup companies take a loss anywhere from the first year, 2 years, and then the next thing you know, prices skyrocket. And they're looking to become profitable within a year or 2 years. So the prices are going to go up. Those autonomous cars are not going to be as affordable as you think. The drone delivery and everything, all of these prices on things are going to go up. And I've seen videos on YouTube with the drone delivery where people are like, hey, well, I like not the drone delivery, but the autonomous cars. I've seen people say, hey, I like the autonomous cars. You don't have to feel pressured to tip any driver or anything like that. What they don't realize, okay, that's okay. Feel that way until you get into an accident. Feel that way, that's no problem. But when the prices go up, you're going to be wishing that people were still here to make those trips. Not only that, but there are other things that you can get involved in that provide rides for people that is very lucrative. But when those autonomous cars hit, those jobs are going to go away because they're going to try to flood the streets with those, unless the government says, well, you can only have X amount of cars on the road. And so that means that you have to still provide rides for, rides for the drivers that are human drivers. But like I said, if you're thinking that Okay, man, 48,000. That's great. Like I said, they don't pay us or compensate us for gas. So we're paying for our own gas, and on an average, I usually put about $45 in my gas tank. I drive a 2018 Chevy Equinox, and I'm putting $45 a day in my gas tank. And that, like, when I calculate it, it's cost me over 12 grand this year. So that puts me down at 36,000. When oil changes, you're looking at getting an oil change every single month. That costs me a little over around about $100 with filters and all of that. Not only that, but you're going to be looking at getting new brakes. You're talking about, you know, hitting curves sometimes and flat tires, running over stuff, flat tires, replacing your tires, getting new tires. You can get the tires with warranties if you buy them brand new, and that's going to cost you maybe around about $160, $180 per tire until you get the warranty on there, because it comes with the standard warranty. But if you get a flat tire, so you have to buy an additional warranty for road hazards warranty. But all in all, still, that only covers 50,000 miles. And as you can see, if you look on here, I've put on my car 32,738 miles. That's based off of what they track. And I promise you, those total miles are not accurate. They're not accurate at all. I believe that they're on that line right here. I think that they're only showing the miles that we spent with passengers actually in the car, not the total miles that between pickup and drop off. They don't want drivers to even focus on that and know how much they really truly lost. I could be wrong. I'm speculating at that point only on that particular amount. But again, the fact that I have rejected 6,951 rides. It is December 23rd right now. By the end of the year, I would have rejected 7,000 rides. Year to date, almost 3 years, I've driven 7,726 rides for Lyft. 7,726 rides. This year, I rejected almost the same amount of rides, close enough to the same amount of rides that I've done the whole 3 years that I've actually been driving for Lyft. So what does that tell you? The fact that I'm almost damn near the exact same miles that I've done in this year as far as rejecting is about the same amount of miles that same amount of rides I've actually completed in 3 years. If this was a lucrative business, if this was something lucrative, then a lot of people would be doing this, more people would be doing this, and you'll get picked up a lot quicker. And so this video is mainly about people being aware of whether this is lucrative or not. If you have a job and you're working full time and one of your friends has told you, hey, drive for Lyft, I'm making good money and everything, I warn you, it's not as good as you think. Now, the only time that you really can drive to make money is during the earnings hours, which is when it's busy out. When it's busy out, they say that they're paying drivers more. Passengers are under the illusion that when it's busy out and they're paying more for rides, it's because demand is high. It has nothing to do with demand. It has nothing to do with it. Most people haven't realized how Lyft is calculating these rides and why you're paying $20 more today to go to work than what you paid yesterday. That has a lot to do with your ratings. It has to do with your ratings. I'm going to go online and we'll see if what rides they send me and what the rating is for whatever passenger and everything. So this passenger has 5 stars. It is a likely chance that this particular person has all drivers available to them. So every time when you take a ride, the driver is going to rate you at the end of the ride. When they rate you at the end of the ride, if they give you 5 stars, it says, I will drive them again. 4 stars, I will drive them again. But when they give them 3 stars, don't match me with them again. That driver can no longer pick you up again. That means that your driver availability just went down. It just went down. you no longer have that driver available to you. Now, if this happens a couple of times and you go to request your ride the next day, you're going to notice that your prices are higher than usual. Now, you may want to wait until the prices drop, but for some reason, your prices are not dropping. And you're trying to figure out why you got to pay more today. It's because you've had several rides where you have been permanently blocked by those drivers. They can no longer pick you up again. That puts you in a position where your prices for your rides are going to be higher. Also, when you look right here where it says didn't wear a seatbelt, if the driver says that you did not wear a seatbelt, do you realize that the prices for your rides are going to go up? You are a insurance risk because you're likely to get injured more, basically more severe injuries during an accident than a person that wears a seatbelt. We all know, sometimes people get their chest crushed by the seatbelt and they may suffocate and die. We all know that. But however, insurance companies look at the numbers and they know that the majority of people, they survive accidents because they have a seatbelt, less chance of injury happen because they have a seatbelt on. All right. So when the driver marks off that you don't have a seatbelt, your prices for your rides are going to go up. The more often the drivers are saying that you don't put your seatbelt on, the more your prices for your rides are actually going to be higher. So you're going to pay more money. So you have driver availability is going to draw up your price. You also have whether you wear a seatbelt or not. Now, a lot of passengers are requesting rides for people, but they're not changing the rider. When you change the rider, whatever the driver rates that passenger at, that does not affect your account. It doesn't affect your account. When you don't change the rider and that driver gives your passenger 3 stars, it affects your account directly. So that drops your rating. I've seen a lot of people who have been through this. And I remember one time they posted up, some lady was looking at her Uber account and she didn't even know that she was getting rated. And when she looked at her account, she noticed that her ratings was low. And it happens to be that she was requesting rides for her friends and they were getting bad ratings. We do not like when we're supposed to pick up Sarah and Big John is trying to get into our car. We don't like when Big John requests a ride for Sarah and Sarah's trying to get into our car. We want to know who is getting into our car at all times. We have a right to know this information. Okay? You're supposed to change the rider. And you're not even supposed to book a ride for somebody who doesn't have a Lyft account. That's why it tells you in the app that you can only book rides for people that change the rider for people that have Lyft accounts. All right. So again, unless they change that, I don't know. I don't think that they did change that. I think it is the same, but I recommend that you always change the rider so the driver knows who they're picking up. So the question is, why is it that when you've requested rides for your friends, why is it that the driver picked that person up? Because again, you are not being charged for pickup. Lyft doesn't charge you for that. Lyft does not pay the driver to pick you up. So that's miles and time that the driver took to get to that pickup location. So that driver needs to make some sort of money or they're taking a loss in that vehicle because they're not making a dime on that ride. So this is why a lot of drivers just go ahead and they pick up the passenger. If the driver marks you as a no-show because you requested a ride for somebody else and you didn't put it in the app, if that driver is, say right here where they're getting an extra $3.25 on there, that driver doesn't want to lose that. If they mark you as a no-show or whatever they mark it as and they just leave after canceling, then they're going to lose that $3.25 bonus. Not only that, but right here where it says ride challenges, the driver is trying to do a certain amount of rides so that they can get a bonus from Lyft. It is the same way when it comes down to drivers in Uber runs something which is called promotions. It's just like ride challenges. You have to complete so many rides and then you will be able to earn a bonus for that. So a lot of times drivers are just picking that person up because they're at the end of, they only have a couple hours left, or they only have a day or two left, and they need to get as many rides as they can completed. So they pick up that person. This is very dangerous because the driver could end up getting robbed or carjacked because you lost your phone. You lost your phone. The person that stole it or found it ended up hacking it or requesting a ride on your account. Now the driver gets there because the driver is used to picking up passengers who are not listed as the rider. Because they're used to it, they pick that person up. Now they have a gun to the back of their head. They have a knife to them. And the sad part about it is because people are not changing their riders in the app, which, by the way, you can also do it on Uber as well. Because people are not changing their riders in the app, you're putting drivers in danger. All right. But at the end of that ride, I can guarantee you that driver no longer wants to provide rides for you. You can't operate the app the way that you're supposed to and request rides the right way. That driver is not going to want to come back. Last thing they want is to get a ride request from you late night, one night. And again, that driver, ride is supposed to be for you, but it's somebody else that found your phone. Now they're in a bad situation. Not only that, but you're also going to end up paying for somebody else's ride when you lost your phone. Lyft is not going to refund you. Uber is not going to refund you. You have already been requesting rides for other people. So there's nothing that you can actually do because of how you've been operating your account. At least if you've never been reported as being not the rider or whatever the case is, because in most cases, sometimes drivers will write a note in the app. They'll write a note in the app that reports to Lyft what was the issue, that they can type inside of the box here, like it wasn't the rider requested a ride for somebody else. So all of that information is stored in Lyft's system. Now, one day when you turn around and you go to say that I didn't request that ride for somebody else, Lyft can simply say, well, you have a ride history that drivers have reported that you were not the one in the ride. They're not going to be able to compensate you, even though you're saying that your phone is lost. You're likely to give up and not try to get your money back because of this. You know, if you go on a Better Business Bureau website, you can look up Lyft. You can see all of the complaints that Lyft has gotten from passengers because they were billed for this or billed for that. You know, and then not only that, but when you trash someone's car and or your rider trashes someone's car, then you're going to be issued a cleaning fee. Not only are you going to be blocked from that driver and your availability is going to go down, meaning your price of your rides are going to go up. Not only is that going to occur, but also you're going to end up paying this additional fee. Again, I put a little bit too much information into this video. This whole video was about how much money I made this year driving for Lyft. And as far as for me, I've taken a loss. I've lost value in my vehicle. I've added additional miles to my vehicle, and I have made some money this year. But at the end of the day, am I profitable? I do not feel like I am 100% profitable. To me, in order for me to be profitable, I have to be making around $2 per mile per ride that I drive. And because we're not making any money picking passengers up, I'm only making money dropping them off. And so the miles picking that person up, those are what we call dead miles. Those are dead miles. So again, if I was making $2 per mile, then I would have made 64,000. Well, technically 65,000 this year is what I would have ended up making. Okay, so again, the only way that that's going to really happen is if I catch all the bonus hours, all the busy hours. I stay inside of areas where where Lyft is showing bonuses, like this purple area, which they penny pick. You know, you can see that they have an extra $1 on rides, extra $1.50, extra $3. And then 9 out of 10, there may or may not even be that many drivers even out right now, to where the prices are probably higher, but they're not offering drivers any extra money. See, on this app right now, you can see that there are 5 drivers that are online. 5 drivers that are online. Now, you should usually see 8 drivers. That's what all passengers should see, is 8 drivers. And as I zoom out, you're not seeing any additional drivers in the Toledo area. You're not seeing any additional drivers. You're literally seeing 5 drivers. They're not moving, meaning that they're not accepting any of the ride requests that Lyft is currently sending to the drivers. It's not that it's slow, even though it's 2:50 a.m. It's a lot of people still trying to get to Amazon right now, leaving Amazon and everything. And so, again, you have a lot of drivers that are still out. They're still not moving. Even though while I'm talking right now, you're still not seeing any of these drivers moving. They're not disappearing from the app and then popping back up. And I guarantee you, there are ride requests that are being sent out. Now, I'm the last guy to go online. I'm going to go online real quick and see what comes my way. It's 2:50 right now. 2:50 right now, and a ride just came in. I just went online. The ride should have went to all of these other drivers, but they are expecting me to do 14 miles for $11.16, which is what I'm not gonna do. Now, you have 2 options doing this. You can try to look at things based off of how much they're paying for time, time-wise, or you can look at how much they're paying based off of miles. Now, they're not gonna pay you for the pickup miles. They're only paying you for the distance the passenger is traveling. Now, if a driver declines the ride, it'll go to another driver and it'll have a higher payout. So one driver declines it, it goes to the next driver. It maybe have 20 cents more, maybe 50 cents more. It depends on how much they charge the passenger. Sometimes it'll go up maybe another $1. Depending on how busy it is, or if the person chose priority. And that's another thing. The priority fee that people are paying on these apps, the priority fee that you're paying on these apps right here, you can see they're charging $8.32 if I request a ride for priority right now, and I'll get picked up in 7 minutes. But if I just wait 1 more minute, I can save almost $2 on that ride just by waiting. But a lot of times people are going to choose the priority because they don't see that many drivers on the app, which Lyft is in complete control of how many drivers you see on the app. There's no point in paying priority because the driver that is 2 or 3 minutes away might end up declining your ride. If they decline your ride, why did you pay priority? The next driver is going to be further away, so you're not going to get a ride that quick. So you're not supposed to be requesting rides because you think that you're going to be picked up really quick. You use the priority because you want to make sure that you get a ride as soon as possible. Not in the amount of time that they're stating here, because that's not going to happen. But you're going to get the priority. You're going to get the priority ride. Whatever you're going to pay in the priority ride, you're going to end up getting that due to Lyft. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm sitting at the gas station, I'm making a video, and somebody tries to come up and try to get my attention and everything. Like, dude, you can see my hand motions and my lips are moving. You can see that I'm literally talking right now. Why would you try to interrupt that and everything? This is somebody that pulled up in the car. I don't know if they trying to ask for cash or what the situation is, but bro, it's the wrong time. Obviously, it is the wrong time. But anyway, nevertheless, again, I forgot exactly where I was in the video, but again, you can request a priority ride, but at the same time, you may not get that driver that's that close to you. It may be somebody further out. The priority ride just means that they are going to look for you a ride quicker than somebody else. So 1 or 2 other people might have requested a ride near you, but instead of them getting the driver, you'll get the driver. But that only means that they're going to send out your ride requests to those drivers to try to get you a ride first. It doesn't mean that it's a guaranteed thing. So if you are thinking that they have to get you a ride in that allotted amount of time, no. And you can use the standard, and the standard can tell you that you will get a driver in 20 minutes. But at the same time, the driver that's nearby, the driver that's on the standard that's in 20 minutes away and everything, the driver that is nearby that'll pick you up in 1 or 2 minutes might decline it. So now another driver goes online Now because they went online, you're going to get picked up quicker. So even though priority might say 8 minutes, another driver goes online, they're right down the street from you. So now you're getting picked up in 2 minutes. Same thing with the standard. They tell you 9 minutes, but the another driver that's closer to you, they're sitting there declining rides. And so now Lyft sends them the ride. Now you're getting picked up faster. So no matter what you do as a passenger, your ride, when you get your ride, is not determined by the time that you see. That's not what's going to happen. You may get a ride quicker. It may take longer. All right. So again, don't make any assumptions that the driver's going to be there in 20 minutes. And then the next thing you know, they're there in 2 minutes. Now the driver's waiting and you're trying to text them like, hey man, I didn't know you was going to come that quick. The driver is sitting here like, who cares, man? You booked the ride when you're ready. You booked the ride when you're ready because you should be used to it by now. We can see how many previous trips you've taken. As you can see right here, it says view as driver. So when you click on that, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? It says rides and your rating. It gives you the rides and it gives you the rating. This is the information that's displayed to drivers. It tells you that, how your information is displayed. Learn more about how information is displayed to others. And you can click, and it tells you all this information on this screen. All right? It tells you all of that information. So, again, we know all of this. And I think that there are so many passengers out here that think that we don't know this information and everything. And it tells you all of this stuff inside the app. I used to write down each one of my rides and make sure that I had all of that information down on paper. That way, if I get audited by the IRS, I can show them all of the trip information, the actual miles that I had to drive, where I was at, the pickup, the drop-off location. I had all of that information that was down. Now that I have a screen recorder, I can just simply screen record that thing. But most of the time, the reason why I make sure that I have that information stored, and that is due to people making false allegations. As you can see right there where it says alleged driver under the influence. I was never under the influence. This was a passenger who booked a ride for somebody else, and the person had to stop. And at the stop, they exceeded the wait time. I had to leave. I'm no longer getting paid to wait for a passenger. So I'm leaving. I'm not about to stay. What do I need to stay there for? To take them back home? No, you got to book the ride again. First off, the account holder was a female. The person that they booked the ride for was a male. It was a male. All right? And it was at nighttime. So that was already sketchy right there. Then you get to the store and then you exceed the wait time. The dude, when he went in, he grabbed a basket. I already knew, based off of you grabbing the basket, that you were going to be in that store longer than what you should be in the store. I already knew it. So it didn't make any sense for me to sit there and look stupid, not knowing how long it's going to take them. Because they didn't change the passenger in the app, I couldn't call. If I would have called, the account holder would have answered the phone. When you change the passenger in the app, that gives the driver direct communication with that guest passenger that you requested a ride for. So now I can call them directly and say, hey, you exceeded the wait time. How much longer are you going to be? I don't need to give you that courtesy, but I can give you that courtesy if you actually change the rider in the app. So again, this is why I make sure that I have that information. Because if I don't, then when I go to appeal any deactivation, I don't have enough information to provide for Lyft, because they're not going to tell me who filed that report. But I know, based off of my screen recordings, I know about any issue, because when I'm screen recording, I usually say, well, this person came out 3 minutes late. Sometimes people know that they're going to get a bad rating. So they try to beat the driver to it, because they know that if they give the driver a bad rating, whatever rating the driver puts on them, it's not going to go through. This is one of the reasons why we leave y'all at the pickup location when you exceed the wait time. Because we know that some passengers, they will lie. They will sit there and they will try to give the driver a bad rating so that their ratings don't get harmed in any kind of way or whatnot. But again, they ain't doing nothing but because they'll sit there and they'll make a false report. Look, if you want to give somebody a bad rating, give somebody a bad rating. But don't make a false report. I think you have the option to opt out of making any report when you give them a bad rating. So I don't understand why people will go and just give somebody a bad rating without there being and report a false issue or whatnot. So if I was to give this person a bad rating and then I was hit other safety issues, see at the top it says help. See that right there? Click on that. Now I'm reporting one of these other issues. Okay, now that's when you're going too far. You're going too far because now you are trying to report an issue that never even happened because you're sitting here trying to put something in there. You don't have to do that. You can give them a 1 star without actually having that driver deactivated. Look, the videos went way longer than what I wanted it to go to. Hopefully, at least people have watched the first 10 minutes of the video where I was explaining how I don't feel like this is profitable. I just want people to make, good choices in life. And if you're thinking that based off of how much you've paid for rides that, oh man, these drivers are getting all of the money and everything. No, these companies take all of the money. It doesn't matter what app you use or what websites you go through. You may have the property, you have, and you should be making the money, not these companies. They should make some money, but they should not be making all the money or most of the money. And they are making most of the money. So hopefully I have provided people with information to where people will make decisions whether they want to drive for these apps or not. And hopefully people will make the decision like, okay, well, pickup is free. The drivers are not being paid for that. I want to make sure I compensate people for their time and their efforts. Look, we don't need to have any efforts other than picking you up. I think the drivers should keep a clean car. I think that if you smoke weed or if you smoke cigarettes, you should keep some air freshener. All right, people shouldn't have to sit in your car and it smells like booty. But passengers, likewise, we should not have to endure bad smells throughout the ride because you didn't wash up this morning, because you're musty, or whatever the case may be. We shouldn't have to endure that. But people are gonna endure that if you don't wash yourself. Or if you're going to smoke weed before because you're about to go to work and you just, oh man, it's about to be a bad day, I'm going to get high first. That's fine. That's fine, fam. That is fine. But can you do that outside? Not in an enclosed area where it gets all into your clothes and then you get in my car and you're choking me with that smell? Could you please go in an area where it's not going to get in your clothes and you don't end up suffocating drivers? Because the next passenger gets into the car and they're thinking that the driver's been smoking marijuana. The next passenger is worried about the smell of the car getting into their clothes. They're going to work. Now they're worried about that stuff getting into their clothes, and then they get accused of smelling like marijuana or whatever drug. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. And I do apologize if the video was too long. If you did make it to the end of the video, I appreciate it because it helps with the it helps me build up my hours on my watch time. So currently right here, as you can see, I have 10 subscribers. That actually went up 1. But I have my watch time is 26.8 hours. So again, this helps with the algorithm. I like to monetize my channel, hopefully bring different types of content. Right now, I have videos that you can check out where I'm showing discounts on different apps and everything, and also showing people, hey, if you got low memory on your phone, you can also uninstall the app and you can install it again, and your account is there. Your points you've accumulated with whatever app or service that you've been through, it's still going to be there because it's attached to your phone number and your email and everything. So again, it helps with the algorithm, so more people will see my content. And then not only that, but at some point when I do get monetized, then I'll start making money. But I think you have to get at least 1,000 views, and you're really just getting pennies on a dollar after you've reached 1,000 views for each one of the videos. So a lot of people don't realize that those comments, it helps the algorithm start to put your content in front of more people. So when you're commenting and then you're hitting a like button, because the watch time is one thing, but the likes and people actually interacting with your page, it's a whole different thing, and it actually works for more people. Appreciate you. I hope you have a great day.